Ryder, do you have a question? I've got one if you don't, but Neel, do you have a question?
Rito, first of all, fantastic presentation. I guess my burning question is, are your parents proud of you? Give me both.
I'm not a doctor.
You are. It sounds like doctor stuff. So, and then you travel to Antarctica?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
What's the coldest it's been like been in Antarctica?
So we go when it's winter here in the northern hemisphere and summer there. And the coldest in summer was something like minus 60 Fahrenheit.
What was the warmest?
Well, warmest was not bad. It was like Chicago. It was like 33 or something.
That's truly terrible.
Was there ever a point, I know like you studied the Big Bang or asking you about Antarctica. Was there ever a time where you like weren't totally clothed? Like were you ever able to take your jacket off?
So there is a naked run.
Stop.
Rumor has it.
I've done.
That's like a rumor between like 5 people. Right? Ted told me that there's.
Yeah, he says there's girls. They're down at the summer camp. I'm late. Okay, I've got a science question.
Okay, science question.
All right. Okay. Sorry if this is morbid, but before you die, what is something that you hope that y'all are gonna know that you guys don't know now?
Like my people or humanity?
Well, I mean,
Just like as a scientist,
as a scientist, yeah, right. Like, not like if there's world peace, but like pertaining to your reason. Yeah.
I mean, not in my field. I think the bigger question is, can we find life elsewhere? That would be the biggest question.
But I think I want to know like about your field.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So when I mentioned this, seeing the same, sky with polarizers, if you see the polarized light, there is this funny swirly pattern that we expect, like from math. But the math
This
is
dude Rito hates math.
Going in on it though, like math is science or whatever.
Anyway, but if we see the swirly pattern, and we have some hints of it, it's not like completely crazy, then the amount of swirliness is directly connected with the energy with which the Big Bang happened and the process of the Big Bang. So what this means is that this whole like first light business, the opaqueness, means that we can't see through it. So that's the end of it. But it's not really, because with that polarization picture, we can see to the formal origin, whatever that might be. And so that's really profound. Like we can sit here, I can like drink on Friday nights and tell you how the universe formed. That's crazy.
Alright, so questions from the audience. Raise your hand.
I just want to, before we go, I just want to clarify what you're saying. So so what you're saying is sort of related to why there is no center of the Big Bang. So that if you can find that that the Big Bang is expanding according to some law or some observation, then that would explain why there's no center to the Big Bang.
Yeah, so I could make many sort of cartoons with grids and convince you of many different things. That's called magic. But only one of this is the universe we live in, and other universes I don't know. But here, the Hubble observation nailed it to that particular cartoon, that particular trick.
So there are competing answers or theories out there.
Not any that can be verified with the data seen in our universe, but if you go to another universe, it might be different.
That's so insane.
Has anybody here ever done drugs?
Sounds like a drug conversation.
Yeah, right? I think you're all following along.
Yeah. So the sphere that we're observing, is that from observations based off from Earth? So that's where our sphere is based off of the data collected from planet Earth. Are there other, theoretically, if you had a telescope out in by Jupiter, would there be a different an expanded sphere from that point, or if you were able to get the Hubble telescope to pick it would be a different expanded sphere?
Okay, so there are two questions that I will parse it if I'm incorrect, correct me.
Okay.
So have we just done this from Earth? The answer is no. The Nobel Prizes went to people who did it from space.
Okay.
But after that, we started doing things on Earth because it's cheaper than sending stuff to space.
True.
Really. And so yeah, so we have seen this from both Earth and space over separate experiments, tens and tens of years later. Your second question is, would it look the same if you kept moving? Because there is no true center, no matter where you were, you would see a sphere like this.
Mm-hmm.
But it is true that you would see a different texture to that sphere.
Okay.
So, can I try to maybe put this in layman's terms? Like if you, I don't know if anybody's a Dragon Ball Z fan, but if you were Goku.
Yeah, I'm so on
Yeah,
board.
all right. If you were Goku,
Please
and you-
explain this to me.
Yes, okay, so Goku, he's the coolest. Right? So if you were Goku and you used your like teleportation powers to go like
Instant transmission.
instant transmission, thank you. Right,
Do the-
right, instant transmission. To go like, let's say 5, 6 light years just to the exact left of where you are right now, it would look still like you were in the center of the universe there too. And like the Earth wasn't the center of the universe anymore. Okay.
So we're the center of the universe?
Yeah.
We're always the center of the universe.
What the fuck?
What are some things people are trying to use this light for?
So that's a very good question. So you can think of this as a background light, right? This is the name. So using a background light, you can see things that are in front. So there are several galaxy and galaxy clusters that are so far away that the light is so dim that we would normally not be able to see it except for blind luck. Space is huge. You don't know where. I can't. This guy can.
Dude, let him dunk on you.
Come on, Gardner.
So one thing that we use this telescope for, the Antarctica one, is to look at the shadows of objects. Because there are like these objects, their light is too dim to come to us. But this background light is coming, and it's just like putting something in light, we get a shadow. And using the shadow, we can tag the locations. And then we point Hubble or whatever, other telescope, crank it up the sensitivity and wait, and we see the object. So they're useful in that way.
What's a common misconception about your field that you wish you could explain to people?
Very
This dude knows how to ask a scientist a good question.
Because the rest of you are dumbasses.
I'm sorry, you all do too. I love all of you.
It's the first message I try to get across, that Big Bang did not happen at a particular spot. It happened everywhere.
It really didn't. Every time you say Big Bang, I think of the fucking show, and I get infuriated. And it did happen everywhere. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Yeah, so the fact that this event called the Big Bang, or expansion like came about, it happened everywhere, like everywhere in space. So that picture I drew where the 4 galaxies, they go backward in time, they come close together. That could be anywhere. It didn't tell you where these 4 galaxies are. And so everywhere it happened that way. And that's a really hard thing to get your head around, but it's a misconception that even I've seen Discovery Channel make it.
Let's start here and we'll work our way
Follow
back.
up to that, was that theory about the one place, was that the first theory and then they got updated? Or was that just a misconception from the very beginning?
It was a misconception from the very beginning.
Who named it the Big Bang? Was that like a media?
Maybe, I don't know.
We got less movies, dude.
That was a deep cut, dude.
The guy who, whatever.
Alright, let's jump back.
So just changing the subject a little bit, NASA's looking for a comedian to go to Mars.
Oh, fuck yeah, we should send him to space.
Time slows down in space, right? So maybe I could be on time.
So, assuming the trip is like 6 to 9 months one way, how would you alter your routine over over the 9 months, or anybody, but how would you alter your routine so you wouldn't, and you can't tell like, oh, my date last night, because
I have
over
dates.
right, 6 to 8 months, there's no date.
Here, too.
You do the same routine. Reciprocate.
And on top of that, there's another thing I just read recently that if you're in space for too long, you start to go blind because your
Really?
cerebral spinal fluid goes around your optic nerve and makes it inflamed. So how would you deal with that?
You know, just like every comedian has to deal with hurdles. Just talk about it.
And those G-forces, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Just half-baked premises about like gravity. And,
And
yeah, I know what.
gravity jokes.
Yeah, you're not coming to the show. It's me.
I think, was that you back there? Yeah.
So this may not be the right analogy, but so when you are zooming in with a camera and it becomes really pixelated, how do you know the measurements you're taking are accurate?
Yeah, so we stop our analysis well before we get there. And if a telescope is limited by the pixelation effect or blurring, we can build a new telescope. So the two telescopes whose pictures I showed, one particularly measures it in a blurry way because they want to measure these things that are very far apart. They don't need the resolution. And the other telescope does exactly the opposite. It zooms in. So we never hit that boundary because we keep changing the instrument.
So do you spend most of your time just building telescopes then, rather than like studying the Big Bang?
Yeah. So yeah.
How expensive are these kind of like telescopes and shit?
They're not super expensive.
Yeah, it's
Fine.
like paper towel roll.
It's not that expensive.
It's not that
My rent is $800 and I can't eat sometimes. So, you know.
You don't get the money.
No,
It's an overhead cost.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
No,
No.
we
Do
should.
the crowd question. I'll ask my.
Do you have, okay, we should wrap up in a
Quick
second.
question.
Yeah.
You were talking about polarization and how that might reveal some of the patterns. Are there any hypotheses of what could have caused the polarization of the light?
Yeah, absolutely. So the polarization is caused when gravity or space-time itself undergoes shock. So this is a poor analogy, it doesn't work, but you take a rubber sheet or something, I don't know why, I don't have a rubber sheet. I say this and then I'm like, who has a rubber sheet? And you just suddenly stretch it, like suddenly, you see these wrinkles form, these stretch marks. So if space-time were to expand for some reason, such as, say, the Big Bang, where the bam expanded, there would be these shock stress waves going through space-time itself. And polarization is just a ramification of these stress waves. So light gets bent because space-time itself is bent.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost like someone had maybe a space fact that was kind of similar to that.
It's very much.
I wonder, yeah. But he didn't win, so I guess we can't be friends, Rito. All right, we have time for one more question.
Were you listening to the space facts earlier?
Some, yeah.
You don't count. One more question.
I want to know who is going to win, Rito? Huh? You and your friendship.
Whoever had the LIGO thing.
So you
Not me.
Okay, all right, let's get one more, and I promise that's the last one. If anyone has one more question.
I mean, Neil had it.
Okay, so the Big Bang happened all throughout the universe, right? So when it happened, a star exploded.
There were no stars.
Okay. Rewind.
You didn't have atoms. Atoms didn't exist.
Adam.
What?
Okay. So whatever that thing that exploded,
Was there an explosion?
Everywhere in space.
Okay.
okay, so the elements that formed Earth from that explosion.
Continue. It's okay.
No, I know. It's just like, okay.
Were you gonna ask a question?
I have one. Okay, so is it fair to say that, basically, is it safe to assume that there is life similar to here on Earth? If those expansion of those things created us, is it fair to assume that happened?
I'm pretty sure I know what you're asking. The answer is yes.
Thanks,
Is
man.
it possible?
Makes sense that nobody else.
All right, let's give these people their time back.
Guys, thank you so much.
This was April 9th?
No, God damn it. till our next show is
Fuck me.
April. Our next show is April 14th. It's a matinee, actually. That's a Sunday. Jackie's about to yell something. Oh, thank you. Our next show is April 14th. It's a Sunday. It's a matinee. It's at 2 o'clock. Come by. It's going to be at a different location, actually. But we got your emails, hopefully, so we'll find you.
Yeah, and we'll be up front too with the email list. So if you're like, what? Like you're like, I don't want to write shit down. You're like, oh my god, it was amazing. You want to write shit down? Hell
That's
yeah.
fine.
But if also you're like, I don't know what to write down. They're like, oh my god, I didn't like the show. Like, you can leave. Don't worry about it.
See you later.
But yeah, we'll be up front with the email list. Show April
14th.
Find
us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It was all up front at the beginning. We love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you outside.